Okay, this is the next video in our continuation of our AWS series. And in the last video, we see the basic terminology about the VPC, what is VPC and what is the subnet. So in this video, we will see like a few more terms related to the VPC, like peering, security groups, and other things. This is not like a kind of practical session because it's a kind of a more complex topic. So but we should before even jump into the hands-on or practical, we should must have the basic understanding. At least we should know the terminology. So in this we will see what is the network ACL, what is the security group, vpc flow logs, and so many other things. So if you click on the vpc or just search the vpc. So in the last video, we see we have the one default VPC, we have the subnets, and within the VPC, we have the one CIDR range, that is the IP range available. And that IP range further gets subdivided into the subnet. We have the public subnet, we have the private subnet. So all this we have covered in the last video, just the basic terminology. So if you see the security section, under the security section, we have two things, like one is the security group and one is the network ACL. So if you click on the network ACL, we have the one default network ACL. And if you click on the security group, we have the one default security group. So this is not the one which I have created. This is created by the the AWS by default, because we have the one default VPC default subnet. So similarly, we have the default network ACL and default security group. But what is the default network, and what is the difference between the network ACL and the security group? Because both are defined under the section of the security. So if you see this diagram, so we have the outer window you can consider as the AWS. So we have the whole large, the window is the AWS, right? And within the AWS, we have created VPC. So within the AWS, we have the VPC. So we can create the different VPC, our virtual private cloud. So this is the default VPC which is created for. We can create our own VPC. All right, and within the VPC, we have the subnets available. All right, so within the VPC, we have this is the three subnets available within the same VPC. So if you go to if you look at this diagram, we have the AWS cloud. Within the AWS cloud, we have the VPC. Within the VPC, we have the subnet. So we can create the public subnet or the private subnet. It depends upon us. We can create any number of subnets. Okay, so this is the public subnet, this is the private, and whenever we have to create any resource. So let's suppose if I go to the EC2, let me open into the new window, instances. If I have to launch any new instance, what I will do, I will provide the name here. Let me scroll down, and I will select the image, whether I want to spin up the EC2 instance of Windows, Mac, operating system, Linux, so many other things. And here we have the network setting. So whatever the EC2 instance I am creating within the AWS, but within the AWS, in which VPC and in which subnet I am creating this. So by default, it is picking the default VPC, and there is no subnet selected. So it will automatically take any subnet which is related to the any, but we can edit this and we can select our own VPC. So let's suppose if I create my own VPC, so from the drop down list I can create the I can select the VPC within the subnet. So by default there is a no preference. So if there is a no preference, it will took automatically whether it can create my EC2 instance in 2A region or 2B region or 2C region. So I can select my subnet, right? So we have the AWS. Within the AWS, we have the VPC, and within the VPC, we have the subnet, and within the subnet, we will create the EC2. So whatever the EC2 instance will create it will create it within the subnet. All right. Okay, so that's done. So now within the within the subnet, we have the EC2. But what is the difference between a network ACL? Here it is. So network ACL and the security group. So network ACL is a kind of a, you can say a firewall for this subnet. and security group is a firewall for your AWS resources. AWS resources like EC2 or any other resource. So if you want, who can access my whole subnet, doesn't matter like the resources, the whole subnet. So for that we will connect the network ACL. So network ACL is for the firewall, consider as for the the whole subnet. But the security group is for our EC2 instances, or you can say like any instance. Like, so this is the difference between the network ACL and the security group. There are so many other like differences. So let's go to the network ACL. So this is the network ACL, which is like default associated with the three subnets. So basically we have the three subnets, subnet A, subnet B, subnet C, and in front of that we have the network ACL like is there. So if I click on it and if I check the inbound rules, like who can enter into my subnet, all right. So I have the rule number 100, all right. So this is the star means like this rule is like not even available. So wherever the rule number is mentioned, that rule number is available. So rule number is 100. We can give like any rule number, 100, 200. So all the traffics are allowed, and from any source, because this is the public subnet. So from everywhere, anyone can enter into my like this default this default VPC and within the subnet. So we can like connect any other rule. So if you click on the edit inbound rules, so you can like add new rule. So you can give the rule number maybe 200, and any rule you can give like HTTP port, like anything you can give. All right. So basically network ACL is the firewall for the subnet, and security group is the firewall for your EC2 instances. All right. And the so if I click on the, so this is the network, and we can see the like the outbound rule as well. So we have the outbound rule, so it can go to the anywhere from like from whatever the EC2 instance I will create it can go to anywhere. All right. And if I click on the security group, so security group, so we have the default security group. So default security group is like the security group is for the our EC2 instances, right? So we can like attach that. Okay. And one more thing, if you see here in the network ACL, so we have two types of rule. We can allow rule, we have deny rule. So if you click on the edit inbound rules, so if we want to allow like some IP addresses, so we can allow it, and we can also deny it. But allow and deny property, like deny property is not within the security group. So if you see this like a document in the network ACL, a network ACL is a firewall which control traffic from and to the subnet. So network ACL is for the subnet. It's kind of a firewall, and it can have both allow and the deny rule, which we already see. Like it has both the allow and the deny rule. So if you click on it, edit inbound rule, it can allow and the deny rules. It had both the rules. All right. And the rules also include the IP address. So if we have to, so here we have to give the like the IP addresses. And with the security groups is like the, you can say, a kind of a firewall for our EC2 instances or our network interfaces. It has only allow rules. It doesn't have any like any kind of a deny rule. So it has only allow rules. Right. So this is the like the main difference between the network ACL and the security group. We should like know at least the definition. Like if we are working on the AWS, we should know what is the network ACL and what is the security. Okay, so let's cancel it. So we have covered this like network ACL and the network security group. Okay. So let's see what's the next. Okay, next is the Vpc Flow Logs. So how can we see the Vpc Flow Log? So if I click on the VPC, your VPC, so we have one default VPC, and if I select this VPC, right? If I select this VPC, you could see like the 3-4 option. One is the tags, one is the detail, one is the CIDR. CID is the what is the IP range allocated to this VPC, and one is the flow log. So this is the flow logs, right? So by default there are no flow logs. So VPC flow logs are basically it will like create a logs of all the like IP's address or like whatever like source or instance like enter into my VPC, it will create a logs for that. By default, there is no log generated. So whoever is like entering into my VPC, there are no logs generated for the time being, like because there are no we have not created any flow logs, but we can create the flow logs, right? So we can give any name, and we can check, okay, what kind of logs we want. We want the accept traffic, we want the reject traffic, or we want all the traffics. Like let's suppose within the VPC, like if anyone trying to enter my VPC, if and it is successfully enter, so do we want to only accept logs, or if let's suppose if anyone want to enter into my VPC and it that person did not like enter into my VPC, so there is a rejection. So do we want to logs the rejection logs, or we want both accept and reject logs? Along with that, whatever the logs it will create, where this logs will get created, whether it will get into the S3 bucket or within the CloudWatch logs. So if we have to the CloudWatch log, we have to like select the log group, right? And if it is the S3 bucket, then we have to select the S3 bucket. And then the log record format. So like what is the format? One is the version, from which account, from which interface ID, what is the source header, what is the destination header, what is the source port, what is the this is the default format. You can use your own custom format as well. Okay, so you can create the VPC logs as well. So as soon as you created the VPC logs, so now after that you will able to see all the traffics, like all the logs will be there either in the CloudWatch logs or either within the your S3 bucket. It depends how you like set the flow logs. So flow logs are the logs for all the traffic going through your interfaces. So it will capture basically all the IPs coming into your interfaces. So this will like a very useful to monitor or like troubleshoot your like any internet connectivity issue. So let's suppose you connect one VPC with with the another VPC, and that is like unable to connect. So you can like check like if you can enable the VPC logs, and you can check, okay, why they are not able to connect. So some particular error you can able to see. Okay, so that is the VPC flow logs. So now the VPC peering. So let's suppose you have the one VPC, you have the another VPC, you have the one more VPC, you can create the different VPC. So all these are their own networks, right? So if you created multiple VPC, by default, those are not like like connected with each other. But let's suppose you have like one VPC and you can create one more VPC. So this is, let's suppose, VPC A, and you create one more VPC, VPC B, and you want to connect or communicate between VPC A to the VPC B. So how you will communicate? So you have the peering option. So if you scroll here, the peering connection, like, so if you click on the peering connection, you can create the peering connection. So peering connection is basically to connect one VPC with the another VPC. You can give the name, so you can like select like the VPC. So let's suppose this is the VPC. You can select, okay, you can select the another VPC as well. So the another VPC is exists within the same account or within the different account or within the same region or within the different region. So you can select the another VPC as well. So right now we don't have the another VPC, we have only the one VPC, that is the default VPC. But if you have to create the two VPC like together, there is you have to set some communication between the two VPC. We have this option, that is the peering connection. Basically in this video what we are doing, we are like looking after the some of the option like within the VPC, even though we are not like generally use in day-to-day life, generally the infrastructure team use, but we should know at least the basic understanding of this, like what is network-acl, what is the security group, what is the peering connection. So we should at least have the basic understanding of these topics. Like, so this is the like the peering connection. Okay, so we have seen the VPC peering connection. So this is useful to connect to VPC like each other. So but there is a one catch here. So if you go to the VPC, not a catch, but there are some conditions. So if you create a VPC, you have to define the one cider range. So let's suppose you created the one VPC and you define this like one like a range. And if you create the one VPC and you have defined some another like a range, and maybe that range overlaps. And now if you want to set a peering connection between one VPC and the another VPC, then it will like you will not able to like set up the connection between one VPC to another VPC, because the IP ranges are overlapping. Because when one VPC connect with another VPC, it will treat internally as a one network only. right? So if it is a one network, the IP address should not be overlap. But we have the some IP address here and some overlap IP address in the in the another VPC. So if we have to set up the peering connection with one VPC to the another VPC, we have to make sure that the IP ranges, that the CIDR range, IP range should not overlap with one VPC to the another VPC. Okay, so must not have the overlapping IP ranges. Along with that, like VPC, peering connection is not transitive. Transitive means let's suppose you have created three VPC, VPC A, VPC B, and VPC C, and you set up the connection with VPC A and VPC B using the peering connection, right? And A and B is now connected. Now you have the one more VPC, VPC C. So now you connected A with C. So now A is connected with B, A is connected with C. But it doesn't mean that the B and C are connected. So this is not the transitive. So B and C will not able to communicate with each other, but A and B will able to communicate with each other, and A and C will able to communicate with each other. If you want to communicate between the B and C, you have to set up the VPC peering. So maybe if you go to the Google, VPC peering, and if you click on the images, so VPC peering is basically to connect the two VPC. So you have the one VPC, you have the another VPC. So first we have to make sure the IP ranges should not overlap, and we can set up the VPC peering connection. So similarly here as well, like VPC A, VPC B, VPC. So right now VPC A is connected with VPC B, VPC A connected with VPC C. So it doesn't mean that the VPC B and VPC will communicate with each other. No, only A can communicate with B and A can communicate with C. If you want to communicate between B and C, so you have to set up the one more peering connection between the B and the C. Okay, so this is the peering connection. So let's see. Now we have the site-to-site VPN. So we have covered peering connection, we have seen the network-acl, we have covered the security groups. Okay, so there are few more options here. That is the virtual private network, that site-to-site VPN, endpoints, client VPN, virtual private gateway, customer network, transit gateway. So there are a few more options. So site-to-site. Site-to-site means, as the name suggests, like it will connect with one side to the another side. One side means, so you have your what we can say is own premise data centers. That is your own site. So if you have your own premise data center resources and you want to connect that resources with your AWS resources, correct? So that is the site to site. So one site is your own private data center and one site is your AWS their own site. So now you have to set up the connection. So in that case, if you want to set up the connection from your own premise data center to your whatever the resources you created into the cloud. So for that you have to create the VPN connection using site to site VPN connection. All right. So if I go to site to site VPN, so yeah, so site to site VPN is basically like you have your own data center and some another AWS cloud. So there is a one site and there is another site. So that site should connect with with each other. So it will connect using the public network. All right. So this will connect using the public networks, but the data will be encrypted. But there are some issues because it will go through the public network. So there sometimes the bandwidth issue or so many other issue, and definitely there will be the security issue. Even how the data will be encrypted, but as it will move from the the public cloud, so there can be the security breaches as well. All right. Okay, so that is the site to site VPN connection. There is a one more option we called as a direct connect. So in the direct connect, what we will do, so if we have one data center and so let me show you the diagram. Direct connect AWS. So yeah, so this is like Amazon VPC, like one VPC is within the Amazon, and this is your own maybe customer you can say customer network, your own premise network, right? So one option is you can do the site to site connection. So that will go through your public cloud, not with the private cloud, right? And one is the direct connect. So within the direct connect, so you have to set up like a physical connection via cables, via routers, via hub, via switches. So you have to set up the physical connection. So if one device will connect with the another device using physical connection, so that connection is the definitely the private connection, because it is not available to the public. So that is the private connection. So we have the one more option, that is the direct connect. So it is more secure, but it is more expensive, because you have to set up the physical resources. You need to set up the connection between the AWS cloud to your a data center. Okay, so how it will connect? So within the AWS, so you have the one VPC and you have the virtual private gateway here. So you can connect the AWS connect using your cables or setup. So here you have the customer data center, you have the customer gateway. So you can connect it with each other. Okay, so that is the site-to-site VPN, and that is the direct connect. But there is one more option, that is the transit gateway. So if you click on the transit gateway, there is a one more option, transit gateway. But what is the transit gateway? So if you see, let me show you. Let me close this. Transit gateway. Okay, so here, whatever we have covered till now, I show you if we have to connect 1 second, VPN peering. So let's suppose if I have 1,000 of VPC, let's suppose if we have the 1,000 of VPC and I want all the 1,000 of VPC connect with each other. So what option I have? One option I have with the, I will do the VPC peering. So I will connect VPC A to VPC B, VPC A to VPC C, VPC A to VPC D, and VPC B to VPC C, VPC C to VPC DD, VPC B to VPC D. So many. So if you look at the overall topology, it will be very complex topology. This is only the internal topology. But if I have to connect with the on-site data center, so then I have to do the site to site or the direct gateway connection. So if you look at the topology, it will become very complex. All right, so you will not able to even find from where the connection is going, right? So to solve this a complicated architecture, we have the transit gateway. So what the transit gateway will do is, transit gateway is like a kind of a star topology, right? So they discover one more service that is called AWS transit gateway. So using the transit gateway, so let's suppose you have the 1,000 of VPC and all the 1,000 VPC you want to connect with each other. So one option is the VPC peering. You connect all the VPC with each other using the VPC peering, but it will be very messy and it will be very complicated, right? So the other option is, let's suppose you have the VPC A, VPC B, VPC C, VPC D, or any number of VPC. What you will do, just connect all the VPC with the AWS transit gateway, but not with each other. So they will communicate with each other using the AWS transit gateway. Similarly, so you have the customer gateway, you have some maybe your own data center, and that data center you want to connect to the AWS. So one option is the site to site gateway. So don't create that mess. So just connect your with the AWS transit gateway. So AWS transit gateways you can call it as a central point, right? So to solve that network topology mess. So now this diagram looks very much simpler. All right, so let's suppose we have how to connect VPC together, and how to, so if you have to connect VPC together, site to site VPN as well, direct connect as well, so the network topology will become very complicated. So to solve this mess, we have a new service called as a transit gateway. So as within the transit gateway, just a one service, kind of a star topology, and all the VPC will connect with each other. So this is called the transit gateway. So we can create a transit gateway as well. So so we can't do the practical or of this, but we should aware at least of the terminology. like if we are giving like even the AWS certification, even the basic certification, we should have the like the this terminology we should aware, like what is like a site to site VPN, whether it will connect AWS VPC together or whether it will connect like our own data center with the AWS. So site to site, with one site to the another site. So what is VPC peering, what is like a network ACL, what is the security group? So we should aware about all like this terminology. So that's it. So that's the end of the video. Thank you.